Thanks so much for joining us today, Josh. We're going to start with our signature question. What does home mean to you?
For me, it is a safe place for people to live with their families and grow, and have good times and bad. But it's somewhere that people can just have a place to live that they can afford, and that gives them the basic kind of necessities of life.
And Josh, you've spent so much of your career leading real estate development and affordable housing initiatives. What first drew you to this work and what keeps you motivated today? And I will say, for our listeners, because I have the advantage of knowing Josh, I'm going to take a little page out of that I heard about his childhood, where he was started off as a small genius in housing and used to like wander off into houses and be interested with like how they were built or what they looked like. And so then from there forward, what motivates you? How have you built your career around affordable housing?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, as you mentioned, at a very early age, I was always really interested in construction, and how things went together, how buildings went together, different architectural design. I loved watching construction sites go at a young age. And so I was always interested in that. And when I was out in Alberta, I moved out to Alberta back in 2012, and realized that I was kind of building these pump houses in the middle of nowhere, and I wanted to have a deeper impact on communities and society. And at that time, affordable housing wasn't talked about as much as it is now. And I said, how hard can this be really? And decided that I was going to go out and try and do something about it. Went to a nonprofit and said, hey, like you guys are doing, they were doing initiatives for people that were unhoused in rural communities. And I said, you really need infrastructure around this. And so pitched them an idea, and they said that they loved it, but they didn't have any money to pay me. So I said, no problem, I'll find my own funding. And then I thought it was going to be 3 months. It turned out to be 9 before I got a paycheck, and built a team and over a 5-year period, and built hundreds of units of affordable housing in rural communities in Alberta and Ontario. And then wanted to move back to Toronto, and got this opportunity with Habitat, and it's been 7 years.
And did you figure out that affordable housing was as difficult as people were making it out to be?
I think, I mean, building housing, building the construction process is actually the easy part. It's all the politics that goes with it. So I was definitely naive, which was probably a good thing, because had I known how challenging it was, I may not have jumped in. But now for me, it's my motto is affordable housing above all else. So there's people that are advocating for different issues like bike lanes and endangered species and all these things that are important, but there's nobody that's really like, again, it seems like housing kind of falls to the bottom of the list, and no matter how many people are kind of advocating it, it seems like it's the last thing that governments kind of are prioritizing. So definitely in it for the long haul, and it's a good fight.
And so from your perspective, what would you say are some of the biggest barriers preventing affordable housing from being built at the scale we need right now in Canada?
I think that it's funny, our marketing and communications people would be nervous about me answering some of these questions, but that's okay. I think that there is a misalignment between different levels of government, and there's a lot of politics and bureaucracy. And politics is cyclical in nature, and the challenge with development is it takes 3 to 5 years before you can get a project ready. And if policy changes, it becomes really it's challenging to have a project go. So there's a lot of challenges in terms of just the cost of construction, buying land, getting approvals, and then there's also just getting the funding and financing to make the project work. So, but I think that the biggest challenge is probably the politics of it all.
Habitat for Humanity is a household name for many Canadians. How do you feel that Habitat's approach has evolved over the years to respond to today's housing affordability challenges?
I mean, so Habitat for Humanity is obviously an international nonprofit housing organization. Each organization, each Habitat affiliate across the globe does things differently. In the context of GTA, we have changed quite a bit over the last 30 years. So initially building single family homes, about 10 to 15 years ago, we stopped doing single families and started doing townhouses. Now all we do is townhouse condominium projects. And last September, we broke ground on our first mid-rise site at Coxwell and Gerrard. That's 7 stories. And so, there's been a big evolution on the home ownership side. But what's also equally as exciting is, Habitat is a builder developer. There's a lot of nonprofit housing operators, but they're not on the development side. So we're really not an operator. We focus more on the construction and the development side. And so we recognize that we could be more impactful and support other nonprofits in their endeavors. And so our board, at the end of last year, greenlit a new strategic plan to help build 2,000 affordable rental and co-op units over the next 5 to 10 years in partnership with other nonprofits.
That's incredible. What did you say?
I was saying lots of change.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it. And in this episode, I was hoping that you could highlight another new development for Habitat for Humanity GTA, your Build Factory. And so can you explain this very exciting new development, what it is and how the idea first came together?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure everybody has that mental image of Habitat where, all these volunteers come out and are framing and swinging hammers and doing stuff on site. And that's just a big part of who we are. It's our DNA. It goes back to our roots. And, as we scale, the question became, okay, how do we continue to do that on site as projects get more and more complex? And how do we build more faster? So back in 2014, Habitat GTA kind of dabbled in panelization offsite. We were actually given a warehouse for a summer, and we built 38 homes in about 38 days, or panelized 38 homes in 38 days. And we had a volunteer force of about 50 people per day. A lot of lessons learned from that experience, but overall it was successful. And then for a variety of reasons, we had projects that were delayed, but we needed to start construction, or we had time commitments that we needed to maintain for funding. And so within the last 2 years, we did our first panelized project with Home Technologies, which was 12 townhouse units in Brampton. Then we panelized our own site, 15 units in Brampton as well at 80 Zamek, and that building is now up. And then we're in the process of panelizing another 62 units at a site at 80 and 90 Shell Ridge Court. And then we have our 6-story site, which was also panelized by Home Technologies. So we see the value of panelization, and the 2 sites that we did ourselves, we did actually at a pop-up location with a big wedding tent. But we realized, okay, we have an opportunity to do something if we can build a build factory. So right now we are pouring the foundation at our office at 155 Bermondsey. It'll be a 16,000 square foot facility. They will open in September.
Super exciting. Congrats. And for listeners who might be unfamiliar with factory built housing, how does this model differ from traditional construction methods? What advantages does it offer? Maybe get a little bit nerdy about habitats, new plant that's coming, and the paneling that will result. Because, like, I think a lot of nonprofits now are trying to figure out how can we be part of the solution of creating more affordable housing. So, like, what are the ways perhaps like they could think differently about using habitats paneling, for example, or what are the advantages there? How is it different? I know
Yes.
there's a lot of talk too, like with the you know intention or focus to create more housing now. There's a lot of talk around modern methods of construction and employing those in how we build the housing. So maybe if you jump a little bit into that for us.
Well, I mean, the irony for us is that we started looking at this even before the latest push to modern methods of construction. And the reason we did it was twofold. A, we wanted to continue to engage volunteers, but do it offsite in a more controlled environment all year round, as opposed to like in the summer months. And then B was just about scheduling. So our 12 unit townhouse project, that was completely framed in within about 3 weeks. Our 7-story project at Coxwell and Gerard, to frame each floor. I think it was about 3 days for them to bring the panels on site. So you can really expedite construction. And a lot of people talk about volumetric construction, which is thinking about like, instead of, we have like, ours is flat panels that come on a truck and you offload it and erect it, and then you still got to finish all the interiors. So we're kind of halfway between conventional framing and the volumetric, which is a completed box that you just put on another box and then make the connections. Volumetric is difficult in kind of downtown Toronto areas because of just the streetcars and bridges and all that stuff. So for us, it was about engaging those volunteers and corporate groups to come out and build. We have about 2,000 people come out a year to help us build. And then a fantastic group of volunteers who are we call crew leaders, who are a bunch of retired individuals who come out almost every day and help us swing hammers and lead other volunteers. So it's a really impactful program for us. But it also helps us build faster, and frankly, I think we're building better quality.
So from a development perspective, how do you see the Build Factory helping to speed up the delivery of affordable housing while maintaining quality and sustainability? So I know that you touched on like how quickly you're able to do it for your homes. Do you think this is something that you'll scale?
I mean, I say that we need to crawl before we run. Of course, in my mind, I've thought, over the next 2 years, what does this look like and how we can do more. So right now they're unfinished wall panels, but the hope is to, put Tyvek air barrier on the outside, put windows on the outside, possibly, pre-drill for electrical or plumbing, and maybe even insulation if it's mineral wool or Roxol. So that's long term. And then of course we would love to, if I think about, for example, Blue Doors site, Gorham Road, like that would have been a perfect site for panelization. And that's a site that Habitat could frame easily. So that would be kind of, again, on that mandate to do 2,000 homes with other nonprofits. The panelization component will hopefully be a part of that.
And is the panelization just the outsides of the building?
Yeah, so we've done both the like exterior load-bearing walls as well as interior walls. On our next project, we're actually just doing exterior walls, load-bearing walls, and then we're going to have all the interior walls done with steel stud. So we're still working through to see, okay, what's the most efficient way of doing it. So right now it could be done both ways. And we're going to test to see, okay, what's the most cost-effective, sustainable way.
That's amazing. Pretty exciting. What would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about affordable housing or factory built housing, and how would you address them?
Yeah, so I mean, affordable housing, there's just like, again, it's funny when we had a tour a couple weeks ago at one of our sites, and people walking through were impressed about how well our homes are built. All of our homes, our townhomes at least, are built with brick. Where the quality is, I think, honestly superior to some of the private sector builders, because we're building for long-term affordable housing, as opposed to we're building quickly to turn a profit. So we've actually had inspectors say that, like, the quality of our homes, the finishes, the materials, are better than the privates, the homes that they're seeing being sold at market value. In terms of panelization, I think there's, again, quality. Like, people think of manufactured homes, they think about the mobile homes. Like the quality that we're getting out of our wall panels are I think pretty good. I think better than if it was built on site. And because we're able to put it up faster, it means that it's not exposed to the elements for as long. So if you think about the moisture content inside of a building, it's not open to the elements for as long. So we just have a better product at the end of the day.
Do you think there's any misconceptions about, like, right now, as the space is trying to move forward with housing, is there any, like, misconceptions that you think people have about using paneling, or do you feel like it's well received, like, from your seat?
It's funny. I think that like, I struggle with the fact that government is so focused on these modern methods of just construction. It's almost like a buzzword. We were transitioning to panelization before some of the more recent, pushes for modern methods. I think there's a time and a place for it. It's not always the right thing to do, but I think that when it does make sense, it's a great product. It can provide, it can expedite things. I don't think it's cheaper. Like, there's usually a bit of a cost premium because you're framing off site, then you're loading it onto a truck, and then have a crane to offload it, and you still have to erect it with people. But you're also saving time. So just because you can put it together faster and run things concurrent. So I think that there's a misconception that it will be the end all be all, but I think there's a time and a place for it. And for us, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that it's going to make a lot of sense for a lot of other affordable housing projects. But I think we just need to be open-minded we need affordable housing first and foremost, good quality, efficient, affordable housing. So just because I'm a proponent and positive about, panelization, doesn't mean that's the only thing that we should be doing.
Yeah, for sure. But I will ask, because this is about panelization. Do you find that there's a cost savings element there as well? Like, when nonprofit housing providers are looking to generate more housing, there is, like, the upward climb you talked about with creating affordable homes. So we have more sturdy, more speedy. Do we also have more affordable?
So for us, that is, like, why we've done it, is that we're seeing cost savings.
Okay.
And part of it is that we have a group of volunteers that are coming in to help us. So we're getting that free labor, which is really impactful. And with that, we're saving money. And then the longer your site is open for, so the longer you have insurance and porta potties and temporary power, and then if you have to go into winter heat and site supers and all those things, the more you're paying. So, like, if I took that site that I was telling you, it took 3 weeks to build that building, that would have probably taken at least 2.5 to maybe 3 months for them to frame it on site. So it does add up.
So, I mean, it's exciting to hear about this, and exciting that, even though it's not open, that there might be future here for nonprofits to collaborate with Habitat for Humanity. And so I think I'm hearing that collaboration is really at the heart of this project. So if you imagine down the road a piece when your build factory is in operation, what partnerships would be critical to bringing this build factory to life in the way that you are imagining it?
Well, I mean, one that I'm really keen about, and I know that we're early days, but for example, your construct program. So bringing individuals who are learning trades into the build factory, giving them the tools and support to learn how to enter the workforce, specifically the trades. I think is a real opportunity. So workforce development and skills building is a big thing that we're going to look to in 2027, and training that next generation of carpenters. Also, again, just being able to provide wall panels for other nonprofits. That's a long-term goal. So that we'll be open book in terms of our costs, but looking how we can get donated or cheaper kind of lumber as part of a donation. And then we have this labor force that we can leverage that are volunteers, and then pass along, a big part of that savings to the nonprofit and affordable units that we want to see built.
That sounds incredible. And if you look even a bit further, let's say 5 years down the line, when you're having that successful moment, what would success look like at that time? What impact do you hope that the build factory will have had on affordable housing across the GTA, maybe even across Canada?
So, I mean, my hope is that that we're operating that build factory 6 days a week. We have a bunch of individuals who've come through and learned how to learn a trade, and that we're supplying, that if any nonprofit that's building with wood in the city of Toronto and the GTA is partnered with us to actually get a panelized structure built on their property. That would be a huge win. I may go as far as to say, even if we could start to sell to the private sector, that would be, again, another win, and then recycle some of that money that may be called profit, to go back to build more affordable housing.
And why not? I mean, Habitat's mission is about creating more housing, so why wouldn't the private sector want to partner to deliver on that goal? Josh, before we wrap up, could you think about what is one thing that our listeners or organizations can do to get involved, to partner, and to support this acceleration of housing in this critical moment?
Well, so first of all, in September, we have two big events coming up, which is our Women Build. It's going to be the first event that we have at our new build factory, where we're going to be working to build 62 homes. We're going to have 75 people a day over a 5-day period. So corporate groups who are looking for employee engagement can come out. It's a paid experience, but it's using kind of corporate engagement dollars plus marketing dollars to do good with people, bringing them together. People love it. That's a huge part of what we do. And then for those who are retired and looking for something to keep them busy, become a crew leader, come out and volunteer. It's a really cool community that they have this group text that they're all communicating. They get together for lunch. It's funny, they take real ownership of this program, and we're super fortunate for them. So there's two ways to engage. After September, we're going to be having these events in Toronto at our office at Bermondsey, and then there's going to also be opportunities, more kind of unique opportunities on site for those who are interested, who want that on-site experience too. So if you're thinking about your budget for 2027, reach out to us. You can email me or go to our website. There's information there. But yeah, there's lots of ways to help build affordable housing. Doing good, aligning your brand to a nonprofit housing organization like Habitat, and then also getting good employee engagement.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Josh, for sharing. Is there anything else you want to throw in or pitch before you have to go?
No, again, thanks for having me on today. And I think, I don't know when your team's coming out to check out one of these things. I think it's next week, or is it this week?
Yes, yeah. Actually, I think our Construct team is coming out this week, so pretty exciting. And love to keep that conversation going. And it is very exciting to hear about the Build Factory and how it's coming together, and the opportunity. I think, like you said, that focused opportunity to train, but also to purposely continue to build that affordable housing. So yeah, very exciting times.
It is exciting times in the world of affordable housing. Lots going on. And anyways, thank you so much for having me, and look forward to having you guys on site.
For sure. Thanks for joining us, Josh.
All right, take care.
This episode featured Josh Benard from Habitat for Humanity GTA, who shared how the organization is rethinking the way affordable housing is built through its innovative Build Factory model. Josh's insights highlighted the potential of factory-built construction, cross-sector partnerships, and new approaches to scaling housing delivery while maintaining quality and community impact. This conversation offers a glimpse into how innovation and collaboration could help accelerate affordable housing development across Canada. Thank you for listening to On the Way Home, a podcast brought to you by Blue Door. Stay tuned for more conversations exploring bold solutions to Canada's housing challenges.